Hello there. We must unite behind the Prime Minister over Brexit, say Iain Duncan Smith and Amber Rudd. In the Telegraph, two Tories on opposite sides of the Brexit debate have come together to urge their fellow Conservative MPs to unite behind Theresa May and vote down the Lords' imposed and Remainer-based amendments to the EU Withdrawal Bill. Iain Duncan Smith and Amber Rudd have jointly called for discipline and unity of purpose, saying that Corbyn and the Labour Party would exploit any vote against the government. Jeremy Corbyn will do everything he can to stop us. That includes cynically trying to frustrate the Brexit process for his own political ends, they write. But it might not just be the fear of a Corbyn government that is bringing the Tory rebels to heel. It could well also be the fear that Theresa May could be ousted and replaced by an advocate of hard Brexit that is also concentrating their minds. According to The Observer, the rebel Tories seem to have backed away from inflicting a Brexit defeat on the PM over the withdrawal bill for fear of getting Boris Johnson or maybe even Michael Gove in her stead. But the danger has only been reduced from critical to severe, says the report. And any decision by the rebels to back the PM over the EU Withdrawal Bill may only be a stay of execution while waiting for another opportune moment to strike, such as when the trade bill gets discussed. Theresa May has also lambasted the Lords for going way beyond their constitutional brief to put her in this position, saying, "Of course the Lords has a revising role to play. But some of the amendments that were passed and the comments that were made went far beyond that. You had peers talking about stopping Brexit or trying to tie the government's hands in the negotiations. This government is delivering on the decision made by the country in the referendum to leave the EU, and we will not accept anything that prevents us from taking back control of our money, laws and borders." When looking at all the Remainer and opposition political shenanigans, you realise that, as ever over Brexit, only the true Brexiteers want to see the UK succeed. All the others seem intent on destroying it. In the past, the idea was to destroy the UK to force us further into the EU. Now they want to destroy the UK to get us back in before we get a chance to smell true freedom. I cannot remember Leavers ever trying to bring the country down while the Remainers stitched us further into the EU. And finally, we turn to those revolting Remainers. After all the so-called analysis of Leavers and their motives, no one has tried the same approach to understand what drives those behind the post-referendum Remainer revolt, says Robert Toombs, Emeritus Professor of French History at the University of Cambridge and co-chairman of Briefings for Brexit. Commentators have been continually attempting to place Leave voters in categories such as old, bigoted, xenophobic, uneducated, thick, knuckle-dragging, ignorant, right-wing and worse, all to try and devalue the Leave vote and its supporters. But those commentators are all in the main part of the Remain camp, so would never dream of turning such attention on the Remain voters, who in their eyes are clever, educated, informed and therefore superior. As Toombs writes, they have been too busy describing the Leave majority as in various ways pathological that they have not noticed the beam in their own eye. The main drawback for the Remainers here, though, points out Toombs, is that their arguments are basically anti-democratic. Arguments, he says, that could be used to discredit any democratic procedure, and which have rarely, if ever, been heard in any advanced country since the 19th century. And he cites the examples of, they did not know what they were voting for, working class voters are too ignorant to make a choice, that people without advanced education should have their political rights reduced, and that older people should have no right to an equal democratic voice. Isn't it strange that Remoaners who call themselves progressive still cling to these claims? Shows their true nature, doesn't it? Anti-democratic to the core. Anyway, Briefings for Brexit is trying to analyse the Remainers to see how they can be pigeonholed and what makes them tick. According to Tombs, there are three main categories of Remainers: ideological Remainers, professional Remainers, and worried Remainers. The first, the ideological Remainers, are the vocal but small minority of about 5% of the population who hate the UK and are basically Euro-nationalists who wave the EU flag at every opportunity. The professional Remainers are a larger group of big company executives, EU lobbyists, EU supporting think tanks and academics, all usually in receipt of our money diverted through the EU to them. These people have a vested interest in staying in the EU to protect their own careers and use the economic and technical arguments to remain, but dodge all the sovereignty and social angles. The third group, the worried Remainers, make up about a third of the electorate, says Tombs, and are those that voted Remain as a lesser of two evils. This is the only group likely to change its mind if and when Project Fear proves bogus, and which wants the government to get on with it and provide leadership, writes Tombs. And this last group is the one to concentrate on, he says, by reassuring them with well-based arguments, and this is an urgent political need. For me, though, there is another group, and that is the useful idiot Remainers. These are the people who fitted the EU yoke to their own necks, affixed the blinkers to their own eyes, then began pulling. They will look neither left nor right. They have committed to it, so will never stop. For this group there is no ideology, no professional connection, and they're not worried about outcomes. No, they put themselves behind the Remain cause and cannot now back away. They cannot cut their losses. They are now totally committed because it has become personal. These are the Remainers that get into debates, and when they recognise they are losing, they twist and turn and run off at tangents or just end up swearing or storming off. These are the Remainers that, in argument, will keep digging their own hole, and even when you tear the shovel out of their grasp, they will continue to scrabble away with broken fingertips to dig ever deeper, whilst muttering obscenities under their breath. These are the useful idiot trolls of the EU that you find on internet forums spewing bile and commenting under multiple pseudonyms. These are the Remainers that are nurtured and encouraged by the ideological and professional Remainer groups as put forward by Tombs, because they are free and committed foot soldiers. They exist, and it doesn't take much of a look around the web to be able to quickly find and identify them. Do you know, I think there's mileage in this. We need to do a thorough forensic job on these Remainers. Don't you agree? Oh, I almost forgot. Did you know that if you are sent to prison for more than 1 year, I don't know, let's take any old number out of thin air, say 13 months for example, that under the Representation of the People Act 1981 you will not be able to stand for Parliament during that time. That makes you think on several levels, doesn't it? Well, what do you think? Please let us all know by leaving a comment below. Thank you for watching. Please do like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel. And when subscribing, please do remember to press on the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an alert every single time I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching.